So no matter if you're a new rider or a seasoned veteran with motorcycling, there's no better thing you can do to keep yourself alive than to educate yourself on how to properly ride a motorcycle. Understanding the physics of riding will just give you so much more information you can use when the unexpected happens and when you need to be prepared to react to any situation. And yeah, you can learn from the school of hard knocks on the street, but that's also a lot of times how people die. The way I'd recommend is going to a school like the Yamaha Champions Riding School. Now, you may remember a few months back, my esteemed dirt colleague Ryan Adams took the Yamaha Champions Riding School, and he came away with just so much more knowledge, so much more skills, and after riding with him after that school, his street riding has gone up tremendously. His skill level has just shot through the roof. As the token sport bike guy on the Mo staff, I've taken the school before too, but it was about 10 years ago. And that time frame, my riding has changed dramatically for the better, and I'm all the better for it. Now, I'm turning the tables. I'm doing something a little bit different from what Ryan did at the YCRS school a few months ago. I'm going to take it from the instructor's point of view. I'm going to be a fly on the wall, seeing how the instructors work, not just with one student, but with all the students. I might even get in there myself and give a tip or two, but I want to take you on the other side of things and show you how the school works kind of from a holistic point of view. Come along with me, we're going to show you how the school works and watch everyone learn, get better, and be faster and be safer. So here we go.
He's no dummy. He learns things so quickly.
Here we are with the kingpin. Can I say that?
Wow, that's nice. I like that.
Of the Yamaha Champions Riding School, Nick Iannach. Nick and I go way back. I think, what has it been? A decade or so. Yeah. He kind of laid the path for me to follow from a career standpoint. I mean, you started Sport Rider magazine. I worked at Sport Rider magazine, so I quite literally followed in your footsteps, and still doing so today, following you behind here to ride motorcycles. So, Nick, you've been involved with this school for some time, even before it was the Yamaha school, when it was the Freddie Spencer school. Tell me and explain to the viewers, what is the philosophy of the Yamaha Champions Riding School?
We called it the Champion School rather than Nick School or Chris Paris or Kyle Wyman, some of my guys. We called it the Champion School because we felt that we wanted to focus on what the best riders in the world do to win championships. And you immediately think they go fast, but actually they go consistently fast. And there's days when you cannot win, but you can take fifth and get fifth place points because you have that consistency in your package. So that's why we called it the Champion School. And the beautiful thing is we get to keep tweaking the curriculum as riding evolves. You know, we're not stuck with one thing where we taught this for a couple years and we have to stick with it. We can keep evolving and tweaking the curriculum, and all the students today will do the Rossi leg dangle, right? they're all going to Rossi leg dangle in there because Rossi does it, and why does he do it? And, you know, Senator Mathis and things like that.
So for the people watching this or reading this story and they see the setup, they see sport bikes, they see a track, they think to themselves, I don't ride a sport bike, I don't go to the racetrack, I don't care about that. Why should they care?
That is a great question, because people have that philosophy, and then the motorcycle is not aware of whether it's downhill turn 5 at Elkhart Lake or downhill left turn on your favorite road. It's not aware of where it is. The tires don't care where they are. The bike doesn't know or care where it is. The bike just works poorly or well based on the inputs we make to make the bike work no matter where we are. Even in intersections, the bike doesn't know it's an intersection. It might think it's at a flat camber hairpin on the track. So We don't care what you ride, we don't care where you ride it, we care how you ride it. That's what we push on.
Well, Nick, we've done stories about students taking this school, but I'm approaching this from a different aspect. I'm approaching this like a fly on the wall, like a pseudo instructor. You did give me an instructor's vest, which may or may not be warranted. However, my coworker Ryan took this school a few months back, and once he came back, I went on a ride with him, and it was like a night and day difference. His skills just shot through the roof. From an instructor's standpoint, though, what is that thing that keeps you going?
A couple of things happen. First of all, our industry is not growing, and I believe it's partly due to new riders not hearing quite the right message. And they're getting their licenses, they're getting rolling, but they need to hear a little bit more, and that's what we're pushing on really hard. That's why we're doing so much marketing on Facebook, a lot of free information given out. We got some things in the works that will get the word out to more people, because we believe that if the new riders could adapt some of these principles that we talk about, and particularly trail braking, as you know, how much that changed your riding in your life, and trail braking, covering the brakes, when we accelerate based on our radius and mile an hour, if we can get that across to new riders, the sooner the better. We believe our industry will grow, and this is why we're an MSF Tier 3 school. We're trying to take the riders that just learned how in a parking lot and extend their knowledge as quickly as we can. So that's a big push for us. And number two, I went to a car school back in the day, and a 3-day car school at Laguna Seca, and the instructor sat on the edge of the desk and talked down to us like we're a bunch of idiots, and that because he was fast in a car, he was a god. And I remember looking at him, you son of a bitch, really? That's how it is, huh? And I remember thinking about that, and realizing, boy, if I ever got a chance to do this and teach a school, that I was going to be all in or I'm going to quit. And that's what I ask my instructors, bring it all, bring 100% or stay home, because the sport is very, very difficult. The lows are very low. It's a simple, straightforward sport, but it is not easy. And so if my instructors aren't all in, if they don't jump in and help and coach, that rider will fall down and then quit the sport. So this is what we chase so hard, and that's why I hire the best people I know, and that's why we invited Troy here. Troy is insanely fast. I mean, he's extremely good, and he does not tip over, and no pressure. But
sheesh, I'm going to quit now.
That's right, but that's who my instructors are. They've gone really, really quick. They've won a lot of stuff. They're not tipping over. They got a humble, giving attitude, and that's why we invited Troy here. And I wanted someone to see it from our perspective, because the changes that you are making, just with some of the comments you're making and the lead follow you're doing, you're seeing the difference, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we're going to turn the interview the other direction.
Okay?
Now you're going to talk to me.
That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, my angle from this was to do the opposite, take it from the instructor's perspective. And yes, I was following some students around there, and what really put that aha moment for me was when I followed two students together at the same time. They were behind each other, and one was struggling with some things, and immediately the other one pulls up in front of me and is now the meat and the sandwich, and he's doing everything pretty much textbook. And it kind of visually seeing that put everything into perspective into my mind as to what to tell the first rider. Like, okay, now I can explain to you fully the little tweaks, because you're doing a lot of things right, but here's some little tweaks to do to go even better. And when they get that, oh, okay, and you go back out there and they do it, and then it's suddenly like the light turns on for them. Those are really huge moments.
They really are, and I want everybody to think about with their riding, that if people think, boy, the rider I am right now is the rider I'll always be, and you might think, I didn't start riding early enough, I don't have the right bike, whatever you think, I'm too short, I'm too tall, whatever you think, and we're here to tell you that is not true. There's processes to this. You let go of that brake 10 feet early, the bike quits turning, it runs wide, and that's just the way it's going to be. So with Troy and the instructors that we have here, they'll coach you into those little bitty things. You open that throttle a little bit too hard, the forks extend, the bike's going to run wide. That's just the way it is. So we work on those little bitty things, and we see such enormous improvements. It's insane, the improvements we see. So wherever you are in your riding, if you're not happy with it, come out here. And I want to just make sure I speak to some people that have fallen down and you're thinking about quitting. Maybe you've run across the center line a couple times and you've got your bike for sale with all your gear, 2 oil filters, a gallon of oil. I'm out of the sport. I want you to come to Champ School before you do that. Come to one of our one-day programs that's affordable, because we will show you what you're doing wrong and why the bike crossed the center line, and we'll fix it, and you will be joy-filled again. And that's what you did to that student when you told him or her those last few things. They went, aha, got it, and boom, they're on a new path.
Right.
You know, I met Eddie Lawson in '85 when I was a cub reporter. I got hired at Motorcyclist in '84, and I pitched a story that Eddie Lawson talks to us about every Grand Prix that he goes to, and we called it Lawson's Lines. And during that time, I became friends with Eddie, and it just rubbed off on me on how he rode a motorcycle, how he lived his life, and went dirt bike riding together and street bike riding together. And it really started to rub off, and I realized, hey, this world champion has a path. He's on a path. It's not that he started riding early enough or that he had the innate skills. It's that he does certain things at certain times on the motorcycle. And then, of course, I got hooked up with Freddie Spencer, Scott Russell, Scott Gray, Thomas Stevens. I mean, all these champions that Chuck Graves. I mean, all these champions talking to me and helping me and coaching me. And I just realized, you know what? We could pass that on in a school. All the help that I got personally to do the racing I did, that I passed on to you, now you're back passing it on. And man, that is what motorcycling instruction is about, passing on what was given to us to become, I mean, a multi-million-dollar motorcycle magazine journalist.
Where?
Yeah.
You see one?
Making that big dollar.
Where'd they go?
Riding those bikes.
Well, when you see
That's
that
a good life, isn't it?
When you see that person, you tell me where they are. The students are practicing their braking drills. The beauty of this test is the instructors are going to vary where they stop on track. And it's up to the students to prepare themselves to properly brake and control the motorcycle at the predefined point. So it replicates, say for example, there's a big old tree branch in the middle of a road in your favorite canyon road. You know how to stop and control the motorcycle to avoid that tree branch in the road and not hit it and not die. So this is kind of a simulation of that sort of drill.
Let out really slowly so I start to creep. I start to move. Now squeeze the little brakes to slow me down. Slow me down. Now do it even slower. Release slow.
Pull the brake on.
Give me a little edge. Slow me down. Pressure. That's it. Right there. That half a millimeter. All the difference in the world.
What we're talking about is when you are, you know, you're on the throttle and you're first going to apply that brakes. It's that very first inkling where it's a very deliberate and progressive squeeze of the brake lever, and then you can really apply the brakes, and then that's when you can load the tire. And then when you're done braking, it's that same deliberate release of the brakes. So your forks aren't doing this and they're not doing this. They're gradually going down and they're gradually releasing. So keep working on that. Let's see if we can find someone else to talk to and see how they're doing. Oh look, it's my buddy Austin on the green and purple popsicle, icicle, creamsicle. Hey, Austin, thanks for showing up in your pajamas, man.
Thanks, man.
You're looking awfully dapper with your green and purple motorcycle.
Well, I love my leathers, but when I can get off, it feels good, so I take advantage of it.
You never quit. Once you put this thing on, it stays on the whole day, my friend. Why are you here?
We are here to learn.
No, why are you here?
Why am I here? To learn how to ride faster, safer, which is the YCRS motto, but I've done this once before. The time before I came, I learned a tremendous amount. It was life-changing, but I knew that my life changed my life.
Okay.
And last year, I was able to utilize all those lessons used, apply them on track, but I knew I could bring up the degree of application a couple more notches potentially. I can't do that unless I have somebody like you or the instructors at YCRS helping me out. It's a lot more affordable in my experience to get appropriate training on track than to try and guess and crash, which I actually unfortunately did this fall. After day one of YCRS coming through again, I've realized why that happened. So my goal now is to prevent that while still upping the degree of application of all these inputs we're providing our bike.
And we're done here. Good night. No.
But there's so much information out there, and just like what I do for a profession, a lot of it is wrong or not necessarily directed. So what I gain from this is having the direction, the umbrella, if you will, of bringing everything together.
Would you call that the umbrella of direction?
Umbrella of direction. So body position, downshifting, braking, all the other things that we teach are under direction.
I've heard them say that.
Yeah, that is a term they use at the school. So he's learning.
I'm picking things up. Yeah.
Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
No, but it really just, again, helps bring everything together under one roof, under one umbrella, and from one perspective. If I'm going down YouTube wormholes or reading articles from multiple magazines,
from dorks like this guy.
I would never do that, of course.
You wouldn't read my stuff. I understand. Yeah.
Then it's hard to figure out what's right or what's going to work best for me. So having it come from one perspective, for my sake anyways, is tremendously helpful. Not only hearing it in person, watching some of the whiteboard drawings happening, but then going out and applying it on track immediately after that, session after session.
I feel like it allows me to be slower with that final release of the clutch.
Exactly.
Feel for it.
It's the last final release of the brake too. These two are interconnected.
Right.
So when you let go of one, you can make up for it with the other.
Sure.
And you're doing that, so.
Sure.
I can feel myself climb that imaginary ladder rung repetitively as we go through all these drills.
And you street ride too, right?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Do you see yourself applying all this stuff when you ride in the street?
Absolutely. For starters, I 100% am always covering the brake on the street. I don't care if I can't see anyone in front of me, nothing. I've had a bobcat jump out right in front of me. Speaking of bobcats, I had a car straddle a bobcat that unfortunately got hit. And it was about 5 or 6 car lengths in front of me, but it was going around a blind curve. I didn't see the bobcat until the car in front of me passed over it between the wheels. Well, I'm kind of in the center, but I was prepared. I had my butt off the seat. So because I had my brake covered, I was able to pretty quickly just change my speed and direction. Had I not done that, had I been just cruising along like this, I would have hit that bobcat. I don't know if that would have been a low side, a high side. It could have easily thrown me into the oncoming lane of traffic because, again, I was going around a right-hand curve. So yeah, I use all of this stuff on the street when I do ride. And maybe I'm not full lean Marquez style, but my head, you better believe, is going every which way.
Since the motorcycle has to draw a straight line, that head and helmet needs to be exactly, man.
Tell him to point that outside shoulder in because he's doing this instead of pointing. Isn't that, I thought you're not supposed to twist your body though.
You are supposed to twist it. You don't want to be twisted up this way, but we want to untwist and rotate that outside shoulder to the inside of the car.
There you go.
Yes. Exactly.
That is one thing that I struggled with, even with faster bikes, is getting your body off to the side ahead of time because it feels weird. But when it becomes the habit, like it helps the bike so much more.
Think about really trying to leave your upper body off on the exit just a hair longer. Like you're really quick to get back into the tuck. So think it's like as you're driving off, and then you'll just rotate the upper body, but you could leave the butt off a little bit.
Take your time coming back.
Yeah, so like until you're ready to stand the bike up and drive, leave more weight down to the inside. So it's like you start driving it. Once you're taking away lean angle, then you can start to get back on it. But it's like the moment you're going to the throttle, you try to get back up on top, and it makes the bike just want to run a little bit wide. So they just leave the body there a hair longer. How's it feel scooting back?
Way better.
Dude, it looks like night and day better. You don't look so like curled up onto the bike. But dude, you're hauling ass on that thing.
Yeah, it feels good.
It's good to see when industry guys can ride really good.
So I was behind you for a little bit there. Couple of things. It looks like you're still rushing corners a little bit.
Okay.
And it looks like you're getting nervous when you think you should be turning in, but you're still on the brakes, which is a normal response. Yeah, so try lighter, longer. Try adjusting how much brake pressure you're putting earlier on, because it looks like since you're rushing past the point where you want to tip the bike in, apply the brakes earlier for that initial brake dive, compression of the fork to get that fat part of the tire on the ground. And then you can really use the brakes to scrub off speed and then trail off very gently. By the point that you want to tip in, you'll have scrubbed enough speed to do so.
I'm here to just learn all the stuff, and I realize like there's just things I'm doing that I'm like, if I can correct this, then it's all going to get a little easier.
Exactly.
If I correct the next thing, it'll get a little easier and I'm feeling it, you know.
The thing you're doing awesome is you're using all of the racetrack.
Yeah.
Because when you're the last turn and, well, every turn really, you're using every inch of the racetrack, and that's so hard to ingrain into people. You have all this room.
Yeah.
You can use it.
Yeah.
And you're doing awesome at that.
I race cars here since these trees were planted.
Okie dokie. Well, next to me is Chris Paris. You guys might know Nick Einach as the I said the kingpin of the Yamaha Champions School, but Chris is like the real bread and butter, the bones of the operation, right? I mean,
well, I tell people that,
yeah. Chris, thanks for joining me here. I asked Nick the same question, and I'll ask it to you too. Well, for those who don't know, what do you do with the school? It's pretty big.
Yep, it's I'm the president.
There you go.
It's very. We don't know what that means, but no, I've been working with Nick since I was about 14 years old. He was my coach coming up racing and doing that. So I've been pretty invested in the teaching side of it, working with him at Freddie Spencer's and doing a lot of that stuff throughout the years. So out at the school, typically we'll split the class into 2 groups. So, you know, the student to instructor ratio becomes a little bit better. And, you know, with doing that, Nick will run one group and I'll normally take the other group, split the groups based on speed, mostly so, you know, newer riders don't get spooked, but quicker riders can ride at a pace and still kind of learn. So, you know, we'll split them up that way. They all hear the same things and get to work on the same things, but it's just the degree of application is a little bit different. Guys that are going road racing might be working on something different than, hey, I go canyon riding on the weekend and I got my license 2 weeks ago. You know, so it's funny. We'll all go ride laps at free lapping sessions during the school, and you know, as soon as we come in, it's like, hey, what was I doing? What could I get better? You know. All of us go, okay, well, hey, I could catch you here, or you're doing this with the brakes. It's the ongoing thing, you know.
You never stop learning.
No, I mean, until you're Marc Marquez, I mean, everybody else should be working on the riding pretty darn hard, you know. So a lot of the things that we work on with body position and what we're doing with our brakes and our eyes are to simplify the sport. You know, there's so much happening so quickly that the more on top of and the more ahead of the bike that we can be, the less exhausting it is, both mentally and physically demanding, you know. So yeah, a lot of the things we work on transfers into high level racing. And even if you're, you know, we get a lot of students that go, you know, we ride across the country, do this. Well, there's certain things that will make that a little bit easier too. So yeah, it's it all kind of bleeds into anything to wheels and just kind of helping you progress.
Is there a particular, I guess, what's the most common thing you've seen where students go, oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, the video has always been, sets off a lot of light bulbs, you know. Everyone goes, man, I got this figured out. My elbow's almost on the ground. I got this going, and they see themselves and they're doing this. It's like, okay, well, maybe we need to tweak these couple things. And once they kind of see themselves, that's normally a pretty big moment. You know, we during a lot of the drills, we do some braking drills, a couple different things where you'll see almost immediately in the next session when they're out lapping, just huge progression because they kind of tweaked on one or two little of the fundamentals, and it was like, okay, now I understand this, or now I understand what the last 5% of your brakes should do and how that's actually making my bike react mid-corner. So, you know, it's different for everybody. Sometimes they get their body in the right position one time and they almost run off the inside of the racetrack and they go, oh my God, man, that worked really well. You know, so now I need to add speed to that to keep that same line. So yeah, it's a little bit different for everybody. Everyone learns at different paces. We've had students that come to 2 or 3 schools and then they go, oh, okay, I finally got that. You never said that before. And it's like, well, we said that, but maybe you weren't ready to hear it at that moment. So yeah, everybody kind of learns at their own pace, but you know, the goal is everybody has that moment at one point or another at the school.
I think Nick's done a great job at the verbiage, and after a student comes, the verbiage they leave with, they can go talk to other graduates, and man, they're right on the money. They know what they're saying to each other with that verbiage. It's pretty cool.
A school like this doesn't last as long as it has for no reason. What do you attribute the success to?
Boy, that's tough because if I was the owner of the school, I would tell you that my staff is why it is so successful.
Well, this is even more telling because you don't own the school, but you've stuck around this long. There's a secret sauce in there somewhere.
It's special. Everybody that works here is hand chosen, not just the dude that has the weekend off. And so when that team comes together, it's awesome.
Common things you like to see riders work on the most?
Well, I think just answering quickly on that would be going to that list we have of reasons we crash. And it starts out with a lack of focus. So that seems to be the most pointed part of it all, that we've got to be committed and focused on what we're doing What's happening to me? What's coming up? And you know, we go down that list, rushing corner entry, and
last one's rushing corner entry. Rushing corner entry, right? If these are our apex cones, we're here, closer to that first cone. We came in with too much entry speed. We could not get direction by the time we get down to that apex. Catches you off guard.
make repeating mistakes and cold tires. Those things are what we have to fix, and those are what I guess are the primary mistakes we see.
I'm here with Davey Woodcraft, a KTM RC390 racer, return student of YCRS. Davey, first of all, thanks for joining me here. Question for you. This is your second time at the school. Why'd you come back?
There was still some things that I needed to work on. The environment here makes it easy to work on specific things.
Like?
For me, it was turns out to be about gripping the bars in a different way, which I thought I was doing, but wasn't. And everything now seems to be falling into place a lot easier now that I've got that one thing going.
That was kind of the point of why I'm here, right? I'm here from an instructor standpoint, seeing those moments where the students go, aha, that's what I need to do to get past that barrier I was at before. And something just as simple as where your hand is was that thing for you, right?
Yeah, the hand thing today, that was the moment today where I realized it was worth coming for. That's, for me, the weekend was, the whole trip out here was worth it. I know it sounds dumb, but just having the hand grip in a different way makes everything that I do on the bike so much easier now. So.
Well, you don't sell yourself short. Being comfortable on the bike is everything.
It is.
I mean, it sounds corny, but you found that one thing to make you comfortable on the bike, and I'm gonna guess you've gone faster.
I got to look at my lap times. I haven't been watching them,
Do you
but
feel
I hope
faster?
Yeah, I don't feel faster. I feel slower, but I think that means that I'm going faster.
That's usually what happens. You feel slower, and you look at your times, and you're going faster.
Yeah.
That was unprovoked, and yet the reason why I'm here was to get that light bulb moment for a student when they realize something has clicked to put them past their plateau. And Davey, that was exactly what I was looking for. So thank you for that unprompted response, and I couldn't have scripted that any better. I'm excited to see your racing. I'm excited to see how you progress throughout the year. So we've come to the end of yet another Yamaha Champions Riding School, and I think you can see from the reactions of the people, everyone comes away from this experience with that sense of, I've just overcome a barrier that I've been working on for so long. And that's kind of the point I wanted to bring across with this particular story in this video is, I mean, yes, this is a story about the Yamaha Champions Riding School, but any good school or teacher worth their salt will get you to that point of understanding what your barriers are and then talking to you and teaching you in an understandable way to overcome that, to bring you past that roadblock you've been facing all this time. And the beauty of that is you come away being a faster and safer motorcycle rider. Whether you ride on the street, the track, sport bikes, cruisers, doesn't matter. If you ride a motorcycle, understanding and knowing how to operate it is going to potentially save your life one day, and that's kind of what this is all about. There's repeat students for a reason, because it works. The point of it, of this school especially, is so you can leave here and not have to come back. They want to give you the tools to understand how to self-evaluate whenever you go ride. Of course, having the pros here and the teachers here, if you ever want to come back, to just give you a refresher and show you maybe something you hadn't thought of before, that's the kind of thing that really makes this school stand out for repeat customers. For new riders, it's just a whole eye-opening experience. It's been really fun, really rewarding, and really enlightening to see these other students progress and overcome their barriers. And if you've been thinking about coming to a school, whether it's YCRS, especially YCRS, but any high-level school, you can expect to get something really good out of it. So if you've been on the fence about it, just pull the trigger, go do it. You're not going to regret it. Big thanks to YCRS for having us out. Big thanks to Alpine Stars Arai for providing the gear that we're wearing. And yeah, go ride safer, go ride faster. And if you're wondering how to do it, go to a school. So that's it for me. Until next time, See you later.
Thank you.
That was the main thing you were working on, but what else were you also trying to achieve through this school? Anything?
5 seconds off my lap time so I can podium round 1.
You have it on video. It's on video. You're gonna speak it to existence, my friend.